Hello everyone, Xeno What If here. Here to bring in part 3 of What If the Maximals crashed landed in Remnant. Link down description of the fanfiction of this What If. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Chapter 5, Equal Measures. Vale, Countryside, Optimus Primal Location. After destroying the Predacons Mega Cannon, Optimus knew that it was only a matter of time before the Preds retaliated back against them for it. So they started two different plans. The first one was to put up several survey posts in different locations to give them an early warning system for Predacons attacks. They'd had been modified by Rhinox to detect Predacon signals. The first batch was already in place around Patch, so now Rhinox was making more, and they are going to place them around Vale for more of a warning for them. The other plan was something Optimus wasn't thrilled about, but with how outnumbered they were he had to agree with the plan. Currently Dinobot was building a bomb that should destroy the Predacon base. He wasn't thrilled by the idea, but the tactical advantage they could gain from it, well, it could very well turn the tide of the war in their favor. But while the bomb was having the finishing touches done on it, Optimus was scouting an area for the survey posts. Unfortunately for him, there was a large storm coming his way. Optimus stood a fair distance away from a hill as a lightning bolt came down on it and revealed dust and energon in it. As he zoomed in on it, he knew that any activity tonight would be too dangerous for anyone. Making his mind up, Optimus contacted the base. Optimus to Command Center, scrub the mission. Looks like one extremely ill wind is blowing our way, said Optimus as he waited for a response but got none. Command Center, do you read? But all he got was static. Knowing that the storm was interfering with the comms, even after Rhinox gave them all the new comm chip upgrade. Optimus then knew that he had to get back to the Axelon or else they would send out Cheetor with the survey posts, and with this weather who knows what could happen. Optimus then transformed and activated his jetpack and flew back to base hoping he would get there in time. Vale, Patch, Axelon. Back at the Axelon everyone was doing something as Rattrap was monitoring the comms waiting for Optimus to call in. Rhinos was finishing the survey post, Cheetor was doing his own thing somewhere, Dinobot was finishing the bomb, and Ruby was upgrading Crescent Rose. Ruby was spending the night at the Axelon, due to Yang having an overnight seminar at Beacon. Her uncle Kiro was out on a job, and her dad was bailing Kiro out of jail of getting into a bar fight. So she and her dog Sway are the night after getting Optimus approval first. Sway is Ruby's pet cardigan Welsh Corgi dog. He has white on the bottom and is black on top, and it was quite funny when Dinobot and Sway meet a few hours ago. Axelon, 4 hours ago. Ruby was heading up the lift to meet with the Maximals with her backpack and weapon on her. In her hand was Sway's leash. When the lift reached the top and the doors opened, Ruby saw Optimus in beast mode as he was getting ready to head out on patrol, scouting mission. Rattrap was at a console, Dinobot was working on the bomb, and Cheetor and Rhinox were nowhere to be seen. Optimus, thanks again for letting me stay the night, said Ruby as she walked inside the base with Sway by her side. Optimus turned and looked at both of them. It's no problem Ruby, just make sure you behave yourself, said Optimus as he looked closer at Sway. Snice, he never seen a dog before. So this is your dog, said Optimus as he lowered himself to Sway level and looked at him with interest. Ruby just beamed at this. Yep, me and Yang are training him to be a hunter dog. He real smart and can even fight, said Ruby as Sway barked at the praise. Dinobot, who was working on the bomb at the time, stopped and looked at Sway. You're telling me that this thing can fight, said Dinobot as he started to laugh at the thought. Ruby frowned at what Dinobot said and then got an idea as she took Sway off his leash. Meanwhile Rattrap turned himself away from the console and looked at Dinobot. Hey, don't mock yous little guys, we can pack quite the punch if you're not ready for us, said Rattrap as Dinobot laughed even harder. Ruby then stood up and looked over at Dinobot. Then what about this then Dinobot, Sway attack, said Ruby as the next then Dinobot saw as a black ball launching at him and him falling on the ground with Sway on his chest. Seeing this, Rattrap couldn't stop laughing, and even Optimus laughed at the sight as Ruby walked over to Dinobot with a smirk on her face. What was that about Sway abilities to fight? Asked Ruby as Sway licked Dinobot face, causing him to groan at what happened. Meanwhile Optimus calmed down and walked over to the lift and looked over to the others. Okay people, back to work. I want those survey posts ready by the time I get back. In Dinobot I want that bomb done as well, but make sure that there are no problems with it," said Optimus as the door closed and the lift went down. Rattrap meanwhile was still laughing at the scene he just watched as Dinobot got up and walked over to him. When Dinobot was next to Rattrap he punched him, causing him to spin around in his chair. Ruby walked over to the bomb and looked at it. "Dinobot, can I help you with this?" asked Ruby as Dinobot was about to say no, but remembered how good she was with weapons and thought she might be able to help. "Very well," said Dinobot as the two of them worked on the bomb as Sway lay on the ground near Rattrap, who finally stopped spinning. "Oh oh 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 oh. Present." Rhinox stood up from the survey posts, or they all shrunk down into little puck shapes. "That does it, survey posts are ready for duty," said Rhinox as he gathered up the posts. "Any word from Optimus?" "Nah, not a flicker. This storm is trashing the comm links worse than usual, not even your new chips are helping that much," said Rattrap as he looked over from his console at Rhinox. Meanwhile Dinobot was finishing the timer on the bomb. "This mission is too critical to be interrupted by minor variation of weather," said Dinobot as he worked on the bomb. Before he was looking for something, who took the synchro laser? Demanded Dinobot as Ruby walked over with it. "Sorry, I was using it to upgrade Crescent Rose. Let me finish it for you," said Ruby as she walked over to the bomb and started to work on it. Unfortunately she did something wrong, causing the bomb to short circuit and fall off the table. In anger of seeing the bomb rolling away, Dinobot grabbed Ruby by her cape and lifted her up. "Why, you little," started Dinobot, but soon everyone's attention was on the bomb as it was about to fall down the open lift. "The bomb, watch out," cried Rattrap as it fell over, and he braced himself for the explosion, and then nothing happened. Luckily for them, it was at that moment that Optimus in beast mode came up the lift and he had the bomb in his hand. "Some sort of trouble?" asked Optimus as he tossed the bomb up and down in one hand. Dinobot, seeing that the bomb was intact, he let go of Ruby as she fell to the ground. As Ruby got up, as Cheetor walked over to Optimus with the synchro laser in his hand, passing Dinobot as he grunted at him. "Hey Big Bot, we're just locking down the Big Bang here. One last adjustment and there, we're set to blast that Predacon base back into orbit as space debris," said Cheetor as the bomb started to shake, causing the others to step back from it. Fortunately for them, the bomb calmed down, letting them breathe a little. "Put it to bed, we're stalled," said Optimus as the other wondered why. "What?" said Dinobot in shock. "You're kidding," said Rattrap in disbelief. "Why can't we continue?" wondered Ruby. "What are you talking about?" asked Rhinox. "Hey, it's just a crossed quasar circuit, I can fix it," said Cheetor, thinking that Optimus thought the bomb wasn't ready, but that wasn't the case. "This storm will hit us within the hour," said Optimus, worried about how bad the storm was. Cheetor on the other hand wasn't worried. "An hour? Not a problem, fellow beast, I can outrun anything the skies can dish," said Cheetor with a bit of cockiness in his voice. But it was short-lived when Ruby grabbed their attention. Cheetor, you might want to see this then," said Ruby as they all looked at a new report that she brought up on the main screen. "Continuing our latest story, the storm of the year is here and people are advised to stay indoors and only go out if you have no choice in the matter. Again, it is advised to stay indoors until the storm passes," said the news reporter as Optimus just looked at Cheetor, waiting for his response. When he heard nothing, he knew he won. "Cheetor, I know you could outrun this storm, but these posts need to be placed carefully to avoid contact with underground dust and energon pockets, and above all else to avoid people. When the storm passes, then you can go," said Optimus as Cheetor handed Optimus the bomb and changed into beast mode and walked away, knowing that he was right. Meanwhile Dinobot didn't share the same feelings as Cheetor or Optimus as he walked over to Optimus. "And does it matter if we blow some energon? Maybe it will take some of our enemies with it. That is what we want, isn't it?" said Dinobot as he was right next to Optimus. Optimus knew that this was coming and he was ready for it. This mission Dinobot is to gain tactical advantage by taking out their base. Defeating them does not mean we have to annihilate them. You seem to have trouble understanding that, said Optimus, knowing that it would take a lot more than this to convince Dinobot. What I understand is this: if situations were reversed, Megatron would spare the base and annihilate us, all of us, Cybertrianane and human alike. said Dinobot as Ruby looked over at Rhinox with a worried look on her face as Rhinox just shook his head at it all. Optimus then had enough of it after seeing the look on Ruby's face. "This eagerness of yours to scrap Megatron is clouding your judgment," said Optimus as Dinobot wanted to bring his point forward as well. "We are at war, Optimus, war. I think it is your judgment that is clouded," said Dinobot as he walked out of the room, reverting to beast mode as he did. It was quite until Rattrap decided to voice his opinion about the survey posts. "Optimus, they're harmless little scanning relays. All they're supposed to do is deceit pred energy signatures, right Rhinox?" said Rattrap, hoping to gain some help in the matter. "I'm with Optimus on this one. Energon is an untested variable, and don't even get me started on dust either. We got to be careful," said Rhinox as Rattrap looked over to Ruby for help, but Ruby was putting Sway's leash on. "I'm going to take Sway out to do his business, so he doesn't do it in the base," said Ruby as she and Sway took the lift out of the base. Optimus just chuckled at the sight. "Nice dodge," chuckled Optimus mostly to himself. He knew that Ruby could do great things, which is one of the reasons why he let her stay the night, and he owed her from knocking her off the roof of the base. Soon after that, the three of them left the command center and went their own ways. Rattrap went to his room, while Rhinox and Optimus went to Optimus' office. Once inside, they sealed the room and made sure no one was listening in. Once that was done, the two of them sat down and got to business. "Rhinox, what did you find out about Ruby's power?" asked Optimus, curious if his friend found anything out about this mystery they found. See, when Yang joined the crew, Optimus had both her and Ruby do a physical so they knew they were in good health and to see if the CR camber would work on them if they were ever hurt badly. When they examined Ruby, Rhinox found a weird power in her, but not in Yang. This weird power seemed to be dormant at the moment, so they didn't tell Ruby, but they've been trying to figure out what it is since. Rhinox just sighed at Optimus' question. "I still have nothing on it. But I've gone through all the records involving unique powers signatures that we have, and the only thing that comes even close to it is, well, you're not going to believe me," said Rhinox, getting Optimus curious what it was. "Go ahead, Rhinox. We've been friends and colleagues for years now, I won't doubt you," said Optimus as Rhinox pulled out a small computer showing an energy pattern. "This is the power Ruby has," said Rhinox as he brought up another energy pattern right beside Ruby's that was similar but still off in some areas. "The only other pattern close to this is the Autobot matrix of leadership," finished Rhinox, causing Optimus to look at him with surprise, shock, and disbelief at the findings. The matrix of leadership was a scared item from the Great War that his ancestor Optimus Prime had. But he did release that power into the universe, so maybe some of that power found its way here and merged with Ruby somehow. But if Ruby had that power inside of her, Optimus shook his head trying to understand it. "Rhinox, are you 100% sure about this?" asked Optimus, hoping that he was wrong because that much power in one person was unbelievable. "Yes, I triple-checked the results. Ruby is like a human version of the matrix of leadership," said Rhinox as Optimus stood up and looked outside at the storm. So many things were going through his head, but there was one thing that he knew for sure. "Rhinox, this stays between you and me. Until we learn more about this, no one, especially Ruby, can learn about it," ordered Optimus as Rhinox understood why. "I've already sealed all my work on it. Only you and me can access the data," said Rhinox as Optimus nodded his head. "What is this power in you, Ruby? Do you know about it, or is it something not even you know about?" thought Optimus as he watched the storm outside get closer. Axelon, Cheetor's room. Meanwhile, Cheetor was laying on his bed in beast mode, wondering if he could outrun the storm, or would it be too much even for him. Soon he heard someone knocking on his door. Curious to who it was, Cheetor answered them. "Come in," said Cheetor as Dinobot walked into his room. "Dinobot, what do you want?" asked Cheetor, wondering why he was here. "I believe that you were right, that you could outrun this storm," said Dinobot as Cheetor looked over at him. "That could be true, but you heard Big Bot, he won't allow it. And even the news says this is one bad storm. Anyway, I'm done being a solo act, I'm a team player now," countered Cheetor as Dinobot thought about it, but he already knew Cheetor would say that. "But what if I helped you? I would stay here and run the ground bridge and keep an eye on the weather for you. That way you can get the survey posts out and show Optimus that you can handle such important tasks. After all, you already mapped all the energon deposits on patch, so this shouldn't be too difficult for you, said Dinobot as Cheetor thought about. Dinobot saw this and made one final push. You have the fastest speed, with only Ruby falling behind you. You are the only one that can do this mission without completions, said Dinobot as he put the final nail into the conversation. Soon Cheetor made up his mind and got off his bed. Okay, if you meant what you said, then I guess we can do this then, said Cheetor as he left his room with Dinobot following behind him. But if Cheetor looked back, he would have seen Dinobot with a toothy grin like he won something. Soon after getting the survey posts, Cheetor, still in beast mode, jumped through the ground bridge and landed in the wilderness of Vale. Making sure that the coast was clear, Cheetor shot out and ran till he reached the first location. When he reached it, he then transformed and pulled out a survey post from under his cheetah head and activated it. He then slammed it into the ground and transformed back into beast mode. But at that moment a bolt of lightning hit near Cheetor, sending him to the ground. Is that supposed to scare me? Yelled Cheetor at the sky, as another bolt landed near him. Seeing this, all Cheetor could say was, "Yep," as he ran away. Soon Cheetor did the same thing at the other locations. The most trouble he had was a pack of Beowulfs, but since Cheetor had energon in him, they stayed clear of him. Finally Cheetor was at the final location as he put the final post into position. That wasn't so hard, said Cheetor to himself as the ground bridge appeared in front of him as he walked through it. But if Cheetor looked back at the post he just placed, he would have seen that the ground around it was cracking and the glow of energon mixed with some dust was coming through. The contact with the substances made the post go haywire, but other than that nothing happened. Oh. Vale, Patch, Axelon. When Cheetor got back, he slowly slipped into the control center hoping that no one was there, but was surprised to see Ruby sitting there in her normal clothes with Crescent Rose in its usual place as she was reading something. Cheetor, curious as to why Ruby was still up, and so he walked over to her. Hey Ruby, why are you still up? It's pretty late, asked Cheetor as Ruby brought herself datapad down. It's about the Great War. After Dinobot told me a little about it, I wanted to learn more about it. So I asked Dinobot and he gave me this datapad about it, answered Ruby as Cheetor looked at the pad and saw Ruby was reading about how the Decepticons brought Cybertron to Earth that one time. Seeing that it was harmless, Cheetor started to walk away. Well, don't stay up too late, or else Optimus won't be happy, said Cheetor as he left the command room and headed to bed. Meanwhile Ruby went back to her readings, but soon stopped when she thought she saw something flicker at one of the consoles. Curious as to what it was, Ruby put down the pad and walked over. When she touched the console there was a bright light, and when it died down Ruby was gone. Oh. Vacu, Darkside. Meanwhile at the Darkside, Pterosaur was at one of the consoles when a bright light appeared out of nowhere, knocking him away, and Ruby appeared out of thin air. Pterosaur was surprised to see the human that had caused them so much trouble when they first got here, but soon got a happy look on his face. Meanwhile Ruby was trying to get her bearings. 1 second she was at the Axelon, the next thing she knew she was, well, wherever here was. Where am I? Asked Ruby out loud as she then heard some dark chuckling near her. Looking over to where the sound came from, Ruby saw Pterosaur as he covered his head with his wings and slowly brought his head out as he talked. Welcome to the Darkside, human. Pterosaur, terrorize, said Pterosaur as he transformed and landed on a platform with his gun ready. Meanwhile Ruby was scared but knew that she had to act now or else she would die, and that was the best option considering where she was. Ruby then pulled out Crescent Rose in sniper mode and jumped away from the console as Pterosaur just shot at it, missing her. Ruby landed on one of the platforms nearby and shot back at Pterosaur. Ruby knew she had moved, but with Pterosaur right in front of her she couldn't move. Reckless. Taking aim, Ruby shot at Pterosaur, sending him flying off his platform and landing on another one. Taking her chances, Ruby spotted the controls for the platform and quickly figured out how it worked. She then started to move around the room while Pterosaur shot at her. Ruby could only focus on dodging at the moment, but Pterosaur got a lucky shot in and destroyed the platform she was on. Luckily for Ruby there were many platforms in the room and she was able to grab hold of another one, only she was hanging from it, making her an easy target for Pterosaur. Pterosaur moved closer to Ruby as she climbed aboard her platform. I heard you were fast girl, you don't seem that fast to me, said Pterosaur as he loaded his gun for the kill. Meanwhile Ruby crouched low as she got ready to do something. Well then, what do you think of this then? Said Ruby as she used her semblance to speed kick Pterosaur, sending him off the platform and onto the console Ruby came from. When Pterosaur made contact with the console he disappeared. Seeing this Ruby couldn't believe it. Whoa, what happened? Asked Ruby to herself, but at that moment two White Fang members and Scorponic came into room. Oh no, said Ruby as she flew her platform away from the three, as they started to shot at her. Luckily for Ruby she was moving around so much they couldn't hit her, but if she tried to fight back it would leave her open. Soon one shot hit the ventilation shaft opening it. Seeing a chance Ruby flew over to the hole and jumped into it and ran as fast as she could without her semblance. The other three went to the hole and looked inside. She went into the vents, you two peruse her while I alert the base, said Scorponic as he flew his platform away leaving the two by themselves. How do we stop her? Asked one member as the other grinned as he held up a shotgun. With this, he said as he flew ahead and shot into the vents. Oh. Vale, Patch, Axelon. Meanwhile back at the Axelon Pterosaur appeared in the Maximal control room confused. Hey, where's she go? Said Pterosaur as he looked around the room. Where I go? He wondered only to see Dinobot walk up to him. Welcome to Enemy Arms, my former comrade. I hope you'll enjoy your stay. Dinobot maximize, said Dinobot as he got ready to take care of Pterosaur. I don't know how you brought me here traitor, but prepare to stain the deck, said Pterosaur only for Dinobot to grab him by his neck. Dinobot was about to do something when he saw that the console in front of him was sparking and glowing a bit. Wait, could it be that an accident of nature and technology has actually created a transporter? Interesting, said Dinobot as he let go of Pterosaur and thought about it. Seeing that an opportunity had presented itself to him he decided to see what Pterosaur knew. Pterosaur, perhaps a truce is in order, said Dinobot as he placed a hand on Pterosaur's shoulder as the two looked at the console. A transporter, ah yes, that how that girl got into our base, said Pterosaur, surprising Dinobot as he looked over at the main table and saw the data pad he gave Ruby sitting there. No, said Dinobot quietly as he was worried about Ruby. To him she was a great warrior that would only get better as time went on, but if she was alone in the Predacon base, then she was doomed. And Dinobot was going to use this knowledge to further his goals and avenge her. And you hear? An interesting development, said Dinobot, keeping his emotions under control. Yeah, said Pterosaur as he walked away from the console and kept an eye on Dinobot. Say we could turn our truce into an alliance, Dinobot, finished Pterosaur, gaining Dinobot interest. An alliance, to what end? Asked Dinobot, wondering how he could turn it around to better himself. Think of the cosmic significance. Together we'll overthrow these low-grade metal mock-offs you joined, and rule the Predacons and these organics with two iron fists. Nothing can stop us, said Pterosaur as the two bumped fist, causing sparks to fly. But Dinobot gave a grin that he had other plans in mind for this alliance. Vacu, Darkside. Meanwhile back at the dark side most of the White Fang were asleep, but those who weren't were in the new mess hall just eating and having fun. The mess hall was an old storage area, but when the White Fang joined up and Adam convinced Megatron to make an eating area for his men. Megatron agreed and now the two of them were sitting in the mess hall watching their new lunch lady serve some people. Currently Cinder was wearing an apron and a hairnet while she served another faunus something to eat. She could see both Megatron and Adam watching her from the corner of her eye. To think all my plans have been stopped because of this caller. I don't even know where Emerald and Mercury are right now, so I'm on my own. And to make things worse they've made me into a lunch lady now, thought Cinder as she served another person with a frown etched on her face. Meanwhile Megatron and Adam were watching her and discussing other matters. Megatron, you promised me that the White Fang would rule this world, but all we've done is wait on Roman to steal Dust and Energon. When are we going to make a move? Demanded Adam as he got tired of waiting around and wanted to make a move. Even the Maximals are moving faster than them. I understand where you're coming from, but if we move too fast we will have problems down the line. We first need to prepare for the upcoming battles. Otherwise it will lead to problems, explained Megatron, but Adam wasn't convinced yet. Seeing this, Megatron pointed over to Cinder. See her, she rushed into getting you and Roman to help her, and now she has that bomb around her neck. That is why we must be careful with how we move, said Megatron as Adam understood what he was saying, but still wanted to do something. At that moment, Scorponic voice boomed through the room. Intruder alert Sector 4, intruder alert Sector 4. It's that red-hooded girl again. Boomed Scorponic voice as everyone stopped what they were doing and looked over to Megatron and Adam for orders. All personnel are to go and find this intruder and capture her. I want to find out how she got into the base undetected like this, ordered Megatron as everyone rushed out of the room. As Megatron and Adam were walking out, Adam wondered something. How did she get past the perimeter guards? We upped the patrols since last time, asked Adam, wondering how someone sneaked in. I don't know, but I will find out, said Megatron as the two left the room, leaving Cinder by herself. What a perfect opportunity, with them all chasing this girl, then no one will see me go to Scorponic lab and find a way to remove this collar, thought Cinder as she burned the lunch lady cloths off her and headed to Scorponic lab. Meanwhile, Ruby was having a hard time. She currently running through the vents, but someone was shooting at her with a shotgun, and they were getting closer. While she was running, two more White Fang joined the others, watching the one shot into the vents. This is taking too long, said one of them. What do you suggest then? Asked another one. This, said the first one as he brought up a missile launcher loaded with heat-seeking missile. He then took aim at Ruby and fired through one of the holes. The rocket flew through vent and towards Ruby. Ruby saw this and was about to run the other way when she saw that shots were closing in on her from that side. Ruby looked back and forth and knew she was in trouble. Only one chance, said Ruby as she activated her semblance and ran as fast as she could. When she reached the shots, she twisted her body and turned into like an arrow and rushed past the shots. And as an added bonus, the shots hit the missile, causing it to explode as she ran full force. Meanwhile, the others were caught in the explosion, sending them flying, luckily for them, onto the metal floor. As for Ruby, she continued to run while the fireball got closer to her. Ruby knew she couldn't outrun it, so she put her aura as high as it would go and braced herself. The fireball caught her, sending her forward and out of the vents as she landed on the ground with a thud. She soon got up and knew she had to move and got out of there. After running for a bit, Ruby heard voices in front of her, and knew she had to hide or else she would have a lot of problems. As she looked around, she saw a door and, seeing no other options, rushed into it, hoping for the best. Once she was inside, she almost gave herself away with a squeal of joy. She had found an armory filled with all sorts of weapons. Knowing she would have to fight, she decided to look at her options. I am behind enemy lines, so being armed with the best gear is the best choice. Though Ruby is a large smile spread across her face as she looked around at all the different weapons in the room. As she looked around the room, something caught her eyes. Lying on a shelf was two wrist guards, silver in color and her size. The interesting thing about them was that there were palm triggers attached to them. Curious to what they did, Ruby pressed them and nothing happened, so she tried again, but harder this time, and an energy dagger came out of the top of the guard. It was a short blue sword, but it would surprise any enemy. Seeing the dagger, Ruby released her pressure and the blade retracted. Looking around to make sure it was still clear, Ruby put on the wrist guards as she admired how they looked on her. The spoils of war, but I do need to make some upgrades on this though. What should I call it? Thought Ruby as she started to leave the room, but stopped when she saw some time bombs. Thinking they could be useful, Ruby grabbed two of them and then left the room. Veil, Patch, Axelon. While Ruby was playing a deadly game of hide and seek at the Predacon base, Dinobot and Pterosaur were walking side by side in beast mode, discussing how things happened. And by simply going into contact with the communication console indicated the transport. Asked Dinobot as he stopped and saw Sway walking towards them. That's all I did, nothing to it, said Pterosaur, not realizing he just sealed his fate. Hearing this caused Dinobot to smile. Excellent. Then I should have no difficulty duplicating the procedure without you, soughed Dinobot, surprising Pterosaur. What do you mean? Asked Pterosaur as he started to get a bad feeling about everything. It means you have no more use. Sway, attack, cried Dinobot as Sway slammed into Pterosaur, sending him into an open hatch. Dinobot then walked up and slammed to close and ejected Pterosaur out of the base. "Good boy," said Dinobot as he petted Sway and was about to walk away but was stopped by Optimus in front of him. "Dinobot, the survey posts are missing, and I can't find Ruby anywhere in the base. Do you know anything about it?" said Optimus as Dinobot knew he had to act fast. "I have no idea about the posts, but I've intercepted a Predacon transmission about a girl with a red hood in the Predacon base though. And we both know who it is," said Dinobot as Optimus knew who it was and was getting worried. "How did she get there and how long ago did you get the message?" demanded Optimus, fearing the worst about Ruby. "I got the message a while ago and just decrypted it just recently, and as how she got there it seems our communications console has become a transporter somehow," said Dinobot as Optimus was shaking in anger. He then turned around and started to walk away. "Get the others, we're launching a full-scale attack of the Pred's base," said Optimus, only for Dinobot to stop him before he could get too far away. "Be reasonable, Optimus Primal. Ruby Rose is a great fighter, a prodigy even, but even she can't handle all of the Predacons and White Fang by herself. As much as I hate to say it, she is probably gone by now," said Dinobot truthfully this time as he lowered his head. Even Sway lowered his head and whined a little hearing this. Hearing this, Optimus let out a large gorilla roar in anger. He can't believe she gone, she had so much to live and those Predacons took it from her. They're going to pay for this, thought Optimus as he looked Dinobot straight in the eyes. "Dinobot, get the bomb ready," said Optimus as he walked away with Sway following him slowly. Meanwhile, Dinobot headed for the bomb as he knew it worked but wished it wasn't Ruby that sold the plan. He would never say it out loud, but he liked the girl. She was a skilled warrior, smart, and ready for a fight. He would make sure she was avenged. Oh. Vacu, Darkside. Back at the Darkside, Ruby was quietly walking through the halls, listening to every sound she could hear. As she walked, she heard to two people ahead of her. "Hey man, ever wonder why we're here?" asked one of them. "It's one of life's great mysteries. Why are we here? Are we the product of some cosmetic coincidence? Is there really even a God watching everything, with a plan for us and stuff? I don't know man, but it keeps me up at night." Answer the other one as Ruby stopped at what he said, confused. There was a silence after that. "What, I'm wonder why we're guarding this computer room when we should be going after the intruder," said the other as Ruby got an idea and moved towards the two quietly. "Oh, cause we were told to," said the other one as the two failed to see Ruby sneak up behind them. "Oh right. So, want to talk about what you said?" asked the other one, but at that moment Ruby knocked both of them out with Crescent Rose and headed into the computer room. She then walked over to the computer and accessed it. "Snice, I got new gear, might as well get some intel as well," said Ruby as she was glad she learned how to use Cybertron-based computers. "Let's see how many White Fang members there are," said Ruby to herself as she went to see if that info was in the system or not. After some digging, Ruby found out the number and put it into a flash drive. She then got some more info and was about to leave when she thought about one more thing. Might as well see where their Energon despots are, thought Ruby as she looked it up, that info. What she found shocked and scared her. Looking at the screen, she saw a map of Remnant with the Energon veins running from the dark side and surrounding areas. She then added the Maximals map and saw that the same vein ran under both bases. If we blow up the base, then the explosion will take out the Maximals base as well, and who knows what else, thought Ruby in terror as she copied the map so she could take it back to base. But she failed to see that Emerald was behind her with her weapon ready to slice her head off. As Emerald was about to slice Ruby's head off, Scorponic came into the room with some others. "There she is," yelled Scorponic, causing Ruby to jump back and out of Emerald's reach. Scorponic then fired a missile at her, causing Ruby to run around the room as the missile followed her. The others watched as she ran until she went towards and jumped over them. The missile then hit Scorponic, sending them all to the ground. Meanwhile, Emerald shook her head, not believing what she just saw. Oh. Veil, Patch, Axelon. Back at the Axelon, Dinobot had just set the timer for the bomb and got ready to place it on the console. "Wait," said Optimus, causing Dinobot to stop and look at him. "You're positive the detonation countdown will give everyone time to flee the base?" asked Optimus, sure he wanted to get revenge for Ruby, but he wasn't going to go down to their level to do it. They shall have 30 seconds, any more and they might be able to disarm it. Answered Dinobot, knowing this was their only chance. Optimus wasn't thrilled with it but wasn't going to back down now. Proceed, was all he said as Dinobot placed the bomb down. Oh. Vacu, Darkseid. Meanwhile Ruby rushed back to console she came from, hoping to get the data back to the others. Once she got close to it, she tossed the flash drive onto it and it disappeared in a flash of light. But when the light died down the bomb was in its place. Oh no, said Ruby, wondering how things could get any worse. She then heard a hovering noise and looked to see Megatron and a bunch of White Fang with him. Scrap, was all she could say. Oh. Vale, Patch, Axelon. Back at the Axelon the flash drive appeared in front of Optimus and Dinobot, confusing them. What is this? Asked Dinobot as Optimus took the drive. He then smelled it and was shocked. It's a flash drive with Ruby's scent on it. Answered Optimus as he plugged it into the computer to see what it had on it. Oh. Vacu, Darkseid. Back with Ruby, she was in a tough situation and knew only one way out of it. Don't shot. This is a bomb that will destroy this whole base. I'm the only one who can save you. Yelled Ruby as many White Fang got scared, but Megatron moved towards her as Pterosaur flew into the room. You think you can lie to me? Pterosaur, disarm that bomb, ordered Megatron as kept an eye on Ruby. Pterosaur moved over to the bomb and opened it up and after a second got scared. There's no time. In 25 seconds it's going to blow. Screamed Pterosaur, scaring the others with his announcement. Adam then took charge. Abandon base, leave everything and get out. Ordered Adam as the White Fang rushed out trying to save themselves. Meanwhile Ruby looked Megatron right in the eyes. Listen, let me at the bomb, I helped build it, I'm your only hope of getting rid of it. Said Ruby as Megatron thought it over. He knew he had little choice in the matter and knew she was his only hope to save his base. Do it, said Megatron as Ruby rushed over to it and took out some tools. She then rushed to dislock the clamps as it was their only way to live. As the countdown neared 0, Ruby finally dislocked the clamps and grabbed the bomb. Go, yelled Ruby as she tossed the bomb to Pterosaur, who then took off into the air and then tossed the bomb away as it exploded while getting caught in the explosion. As the others watched the explosion, Ruby then jumped onto the console and vanished. When Megatron looked over to where Ruby was, he saw 2 mini bombs near the console as they neared 0. Oh no, said Megatron as he breached himself as they exploded. When the dust settled, Megatron was covered in black as the console was destroyed, and to add insult to injury, Pterosaur landed on top of him. Standing to the side was Cinder, who was smiling at the whole thing. Sure, Scorponic Lab was under lock and key with no way to enter without them knowing, but seeing that made Cinder's day. Oh. Vale, Patch, Axelon. When Ruby made it back to the Axelon, she was met with the shocked faces of both Optimus and Dinobot. Optimus couldn't believe what he saw and rushed over to Ruby and hugged her. Ruby's thank Primus, you're okay, said Optimus, relieved that she was okay. How did you survive? Asked Dinobot, surprised. He honestly thought Rudy was killed at the Predacon base. It wasn't easy, but I got some data of the White Fang and a new weapon, said Ruby as she activated her new weapon to show them. After getting over his shock, Optimus addressed Ruby. I'm glad you're alright, but we need to dismantle this console so the Preds can't get in, said Optimus as Ruby got a smug look on her face. It's already taken care of. On my way out I blew up their end, so this side should be okay, said Ruby as Dinobot grinned at that. That was smart thinking on her part. Okay then, is there anything else you want to tell us? Said Optimus as Ruby just stretched and yawned. Yeah, it's been a long night, so I'm going to bed, said Ruby as she disappeared, before Optimus could say anything else as rose petals fell to the ground. Seeing this, Dinobot started to laugh at how fast she left as Optimus shook his head, but then started to laugh as well. He was just glad Ruby was safe and got them some good intel on the Predacons and White Fang. But he soon stopped laughing when he knew how Yang was going to react to this. Oh boy, thought Optimus as he thought how it was going to play out. Chapter 6. Surges and Acceptances. Near Vale, Vacuo border. At the border of Vale and Vacuo there wasn't much to see nice, it was just mostly wastelands, with some forests and mountains scattered about. It was so barren that both governments didn't see much value in the land and had left it as it was, with some patrols going through the area every once in a while. But sometimes those patrols didn't even come back due to grim attacks on those patrols. Currently flying through the sky was a black bird with a white skull on its head. This was a young Nevermore. The Nevermore was just flying through the air minding its own business when out of nowhere Pterosaur came swooping down and caught the Nevermore in his mouth. Pterosaur then processed to eat the Nevermore as if it was a snack for him. After swallowing the Nevermore, Pterosaur felt good with himself. It's good to be a Predacon, Pterosaur said to himself, as he continued to fly through the air in search for his next snack. As he flew near two mountains, he saw something he couldn't believe. Right in the middle of the mountains was a floating mountain. It was so close to the other two that it would pass off as a third mountain to the untrained eye, but Pterosaur's sensors could easily separate it from the other mountains. By the Inferno, said Pterosaur in disbelief as he couldn't believe what he saw seeing. Sure, the planet of Remnant was weird, but this took the cake. Pterosaur knew he had to find out what was keeping the mountain afloat, and so he flew over to it wondering what secrets it held. As he flew towards the mountain, he found an opening near the top and flew into it. Inside he saw that the walls were covered with energon. So much energon it was hard to believe that no one had found it yet. As he flew deeper in, Pterosaur was getting happier and happier with what he saw. Power, this rock alive with it, Pterosaur said to himself as he flew into an open area and saw a huge chunk of energon just sitting there waiting for him to take it. Energon, enough to power an army, said Pterosaur as he flew down closer to the energon and stopped in front of it. He then wondered how much power this energon contained, since it could keep this mountain afloat. I have to chance a scan. Pterosaur terrorize, said Pterosaur as he transformed in the middle of the energon field as his robot body could already feel the energon field build up. Danger, energon surge. Return to beast mode or stasis lock as imitate, warned the computer system inside of Pterosaur about the danger he was in. I must act fast. A small sample will do, Pterosaur said to himself as he walked over to a small crystal and tried to pull it out only for it to blast him, sending him back between two crystals, and was somehow caught between their powers. Pterosaur was in pain for a bit, but after a couple of seconds the pain was gone and was replaced with the feeling of power. His whole body was surging with a red light, instead of usual blue, and Pterosaur was curious as to what happened to him. After a few seconds Pterosaur then realized what happened. The energon has been absorbed directly into my superstructure. I've never felt such power, I'm invincible, he cried out as he started to laugh with this new feeling of power he had, but then realized what he could do with this power. Megatron, stated Pterosaur as he knew what he could, should do with this newfound power. The then shot out of the mountain at breakneck speeds, his destination Predacon HQ. Few minutes earlier near the Energon Mountain. Meanwhile, a little bit earlier both Cheetor and Yang, who was riding her bike Bumblebee, were scouting the area. Yang was giving Cheetor a hard time for what happened with the survey posts that sent Ruby to the Predacon base recently. Yang, how many times do I have to apologize to you for what happened? After all, it wasn't my intention to send Ruby to the Pred's base. Cheetor apologized once more, hoping that Yang would forgive him or at least talk to him, because the treatment he was getting from her was unbearable. See, after Ruby's little trip over to the dark side, the Maximals tried to figure out what happened. It turned out that the survey post hit some energon and dust, causing it to turn into a relay post for teleportation, so all the posts had to be brought back in and double checked to make sure nothing like that would never happen again. But when Yang heard about what happened, she nearly trashed the whole base, trying to find out who did it. It took nearly everyone to calm her down, and Ruby even said there was more good than bad with her trip, because she got intel on the White Fang and a new weapon she calls Silver Thorns. So now Yang and Cheetor were patrolling an area for Predacon activity and any energon deposits. Yang then finally looked over to Cheetor, making the bot stop and wonder what she was going to do to him. Promise me you'll never do something like that again and we'll see what happens, said Yang, causing Cheetor to let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. You got it, said Cheetor, causing Yang to smile a little, and was about to say something to him when she saw something nearby. Cheetor, what's that? Yang asked him as she pointed to something in the distance. Curious as to what it was, Cheetor zoomed in on it. After a second, Cheetor saw what it was. It looks like an Atlesian dropship that crashed landed or was shot out of the sky. Answered Cheetor as Yang then drove her bike over towards it. Might as well check it out then. There's nothing of importance out here anyway. Yelled Yang as she got closer to the crashed dropship. Cheetor mentally agreed with her and ran over to the ship. When they both got there, they saw that the ship was in pretty good condition considering it crashed. As they checked it over, Yang got idea. Hey Cheetor, why don't we take this back to the Axelon and fix it up? Then we have our own dropship. Suggested Yang as Cheetor thought it over and thought that Optimus would agree to that, but before he could reply they heard what sounded like a sonic boom. Looking around they saw what looked like Pterosaur flying past them at breakneck speeds. Yang was the first to get over her shock and asked Cheetor something. Was that Pterosaur? She wondered, not quite believing it as Cheetor looked at where Pterosaur went. It was, and all I know is we should follow him and see what's up. Said Cheetor as he ran after Pterosaur as fast as he could. Yang agreeing with him rived her bike and chased after him, mentally thanking Rhinox for the upgrades he gave her bike. Now instead of running on dust it ran on energon and was twice as fast and goes 3 times as long. Oh. Vacuo, Darkside. At the Darkside Megatron, the Predacons, Adam with some White Fang members, Ronan, and Mercury were gathered together on a medium-sized mountain near their base. Megatron had gathered them all together to unveil a new defense system that should help deal with any unwanted guests. They were all gathered around a floating box as Megatron got ready to present his new system. I programmed this target box with the Maximals energy signal, now watch. Stated Megatron as the box floated away from the group. Soon a turret appeared from behind some rock and locked onto the target box and fired on it, destroying it in no time. Seeing this caused everyone but Mercury, who was annoyed that he had to be there, to clap at the display. Excellent, with a few more of these in place, this area will become a death trap for the Maximals. Stated Megatron as Adam wondered about something. Megatron, what about Maximals' human allies, how do we deal with them? Asked Adam as the White Fang mumbled about it. Megatron merely chuckled at the question. Organics don't give off an energy signature, so we will simply keep the patrols in place. After all, one can never be too careful when dealing with one's enemies, yes. Replied Megatron as Adam understood and had nothing more to say on the matter. At that moment everyone heard Pterosaur squeal as they looked up to see Pterosaur in robot mode flying down at them but staying in the air just above them. Just the sort of plan a cowardly lizard like yourself would conceive of, Megatron, which is why I'm assuming command of the Predacons. He declared as some laughed at what he said, while others were waiting for the beatdown that was going to happen. Place your bets on how long the fight will last, people. Said Roman as people around him started to place their bets on how long Pterosaur would last, while others like Adam wondered what caused Pterosaur to up and challenge Megatron like this. Meanwhile Megatron was annoyed that Pterosaur was acting up again. I thought you already learnt your lesson about challenging me, Pterosaur. Said Megatron as he walked towards Pterosaur while the rest backed away to give them room and not get caught up in the crossfire. Today I'm the teacher, if you have a courage. Taunted Pterosaur as Megatron had enough of his attitude. Very well, I could use some amusement. Megatron terrorize. Yelled Megatron as he transformed into robot mode and got ready to beat some sense into Pterosaur yet again. Seeing this, Roman closed the betting pool. Okay, the fight is about to begin, so betting closed. Said Roman as put all the lean away for safekeeping while pocketing some for himself. Megatron quickly fires some missiles at Pterosaur, with all of them making contact with him, but only pushing him back slightly with no real damage done to him. Pterosaur just laughed off Megatron's attack as he got ready to return the favor. That was amusing, but not as funny as this. Said Pterosaur as he activated his shoulder cannons and fired at Megatron. Megatron was able to dodge the first wave of blasts by jumping out of the way, but Pterosaur continued firing at him, until one shot hit Megatron, sending him down the mountain until he hit a ledge. The others walked over to the edge and looked down at Megatron with surprise at what they just saw. Meanwhile, back with Megatron, he was slowly getting up, frustrated that Pterosaur of all people was the one that knocked him down as Pterosaur landed on the ground behind him. Pterosaur, you treacherous worm, I'll finish you forever. cried Megatron as he charged at Pterosaur with the intent of ripping him apart piece by piece until nothing was left of him. Pterosaur all the while was calm about everything. "I don't think so," he said calmly as he pulled out a gun and fired at Megatron. Each hit landed on Megatron, forcing back as pieces of him fell off from each shot. Soon Pterosaur blasted Megatron off the ledge as he fell apart and hit the ground multiple times before finally stopping. When he stopped, Megatron was nothing more than scrap ready to be thrown away. Back up top, Pterosaur was laughing, while the others couldn't believe what they saw. The silence was soon broken when Roman spoke up. "Since no one betted on Pterosaur, I guess I win all the lien that was betted," said Roman as the White Fang members that betted had words to say to him. Scorponic couldn't believe his eyes. "Megatron is destroyed," he said in disbelief, and he wasn't the only one. "Waspinator does not believe it," said Waspinator as some of the White Fangs said similar things. Meanwhile, Mercury was the only one that was happy. "Wait till I find Cinder and tell her the good news," thought Mercury as he took a picture of the destroyed Megatron to show Cinder later. Adam, on the other hand, was thinking something else. Where did he get that power from? "I've never seen Megatron in such a one-sided fight before," he wondered as Pterosaur landed near the group. "Megatron is scrap. Yes, I'm your leader now. Does anyone want to argue about it now?" challenged Pterosaur as the others said nothing as they looked at him. Pterosaur then took it as a sign they knew what would happen if they did. "Good. Then ready yourselves for battle. The Maximals will be the next to taste my power," declared Pterosaur as no one said anything about his announcement. Little did anyone know that Cheetor and Yang were nearby and watched how Pterosaur trashed Megatron like he was nothing. Both of them looked at each other and knew that if Pterosaur reached the base with his new powers, then they were goners. "Ultra bad," said Cheetor as the two went back to Yang's bike as quickly as they could. Once they reached it, Yang hopped on and looked at Cheetor. "We got to warn everyone, Cheetor," she told Cheetor as she started her bike and got ready to gun it. "Cheetor, you're faster than me, so get back to the ground bridge point and warn everyone," finished Yang as Cheetor gave her a frown. "But what if they catch you?" asked Cheetor, not wanting to leave her alone near Pterosaur. After all, he took out Megatron like he was nothing. Yang understood where Cheetor was coming from, but didn't care. "Better for one of yous to be caught than both of us. Anyway, you still owe me for the teleporter incident," she countered as Cheetor understood where she was coming from. "All right, but be careful," said Cheetor as he took off, leaving a Yang in his dust as she gunned her bike. Meanwhile, back with the Predacons, Pterosaur was still giving out orders. "Here are my orders, Waspinator and I," started Pterosaur before he bent over, feeling his power levels drop drastically. The others watched on as they wondered what was happening to him. "Is something wrong, Pterosaur?" asked Tarantulas, curious as to what brought it on. "Maybe his batteries are low," joked Roman as Tarantulas, though he was more right than he though. Feeling weaker by the second, Pterosaur turned away from the group and activated his internal computer. "Diagnostic, my circuits only," he ordered his computer quietly so no one else could hear him. Unfortunately for him, he forgot faunuses have great hearing. The entire White Fang currently there heard him and wondered what was going on. Something is going on here, though Adam, as he heard Pterosaur computer finish its diagnostic. "Energon drain. Power down 50%. Status lock intimate. Transform immediately," said Pterosaur's computer as it showed Pterosaur his power levels. Pterosaur knew he had to save face and quickly turned around and made up a story to everyone. "I must see to something before the attack. Adam will command until my return," said Pterosaur as he ran off the side of the mountain and transformed, before flying off somewhere. Seeing that Pterosaur was gone, Adam acted. "Tarantulas, get a bullhead and follow him. I want to know what he's hiding," ordered Adam as Tarantulas nodded as he too wanted to know where he got that power from. "Wise move, but I need someone to fly the bullhead for me. My pinchers don't do very well if there are high energon fields involved," said Tarantulas as Roman saw Mercury trying to slip away from the group. Seeing this, Roman smiled at what he thought he was trying to do. "Thank you, Mercury, for volunteering. I see you're already heading to the bullhead to prep it," said Roman with a smile on his face as he ratted him out like that. Adam understood what Mercury was trying to do and knew he had to keep Cinder and her group away from each other for the time being. "Good. Tarantulas, take him and find out what caused Pterosaur to gain that power." Also, Tarantulas is in charge, said Adam as the two walked away. Adam then looked down at Megatron, or what was left of him. Scorponic, Waspinator, take Megatron to the CR tank and fix him. The rest of you will ready the CR tank, he ordered as Scorponic left without saying a word, wanting to save his leader with Waspinator following him while the White Fang members walked off. Adam then saw Roman leaving while whistling a tune to himself. Where are you going? Adam asked him, not trusting the man, and for good reason. Roman turned around and looked at Adam. If you must know, I'm going to hit a small dust shop in Vale and see how the Maximals will respond to it. I'm also taking Cinder with me, said Roman as Adam nodded his head, causing Roman to go on his way. I hope he gets caught, thought Adam as he looked down and watched as Megatron was salvaged. Oh. Vale, Patch, Axelon. Meanwhile, back with Cheetor, he just rushed through the open ground bridge with Yang following him by a minute or two later as both of them rushed towards the base. Inside the base, Rhinox watched as the two of them rushed through like their lives depended on it. Cheetor and Yang are coming in hot, better open the hatch, stated Rhinox as he looked over from the main table to Rattrap, who is currently playing a game of cards with the computer. Yeah, just let me finish this hand. I'm in for this stinking computer for $500,000, said Rattrap as he just lost another hand to the computer. Optimus then walked over and turned off the game, causing Rattrap to whine about it. The two of them wouldn't be moving this fast if they didn't have something urgent to report, said Optimus as he joined Rhinox at the table waiting for Cheetor and Yang to come in. At that second, Cheetor came rushing in, out of breath as he stopped in the command center after lapping it, in order to slow down. Big Bot, Predacons attacking, Megatron scrap, Pterosaur, power source, mountain, floating, said Cheetor nearly at the same time, making it hard to understand what he said. Calm down Cheetor, better transform, suggested Optimus, hoping it would help Cheetor breath better. Cheetor then transformed, causing his breathing to go back to normal somewhat. That's better, now tell us, slowly, said Optimus, wondering what would cause Cheetor to run like that, as Yang rushed in the room out of breath. Sorry I'm late, said Yang as Optimus looked her way. It's okay, Cheetor was just about to explain what's going on, said Optimus as everyone but Yang looked at Cheetor. Seeing everyone looking at him, Cheetor started to explain. Pterosaur leading the Predacons now, he's going to attack our base, he explained, causing the others to gasp at the news. Optimus wanted to know one thing. What about Megatron? He asked, knowing he wouldn't give up command without a fight. Yang then walked over and joined in. Pterosaur took him out like he was nothing, answered Yang as Cheetor continued on for her. Yeah, he must have found some Mayor Energon source on that floating mountain, said Cheetor, surprising the others, even Yang. Floating mountain? Asked Rhinox, confused. Rattrap then moved over to Cheetor. I knew it, you got your circuits crossed, kiddo. Even on this weird world, mountains don't fly, said Rattrap as Yang agreed with him. Yet Cheetor, I didn't see any floating mountains, and if there was one, why hasn't anyone seen it yet? Said Yang as Cheetor growled at it all. Cause the mountain is between two other mountains, making it look like a third mountain. I only picked it out due to the sensors in my eyes, explained Cheetor as Yang understood now how she missed it. As the three of them continued to argue about the mountain, Optimus then spoke up. Rhinox, intensify perimeter scan and get through to Dinobot. I want the Predacons spotted, ordered Optimus as he realized something he forgot. Also, where is Ruby? I haven't seen her since she arrived, and we need all hands on deck, asked Optimus, curious as to where she was. Rattrap then spoke up as to where Ruby was. I think she went into one of the labs. Think she said something about upgrading her new gear, he told Optimus as he then started to walk towards the lab, only for Yang to stop him in his tracks. Don't bother Optimus, once she starts working on a weapon, nothing short of attacking her will stop her, explained Yang as Optimus sighed at that and went back to the main table. He then brought up a map of Remnant. Optimus then looked over to the hollow map and got Cheetor's attention. Now where did you see this floating mountain? He asked as Cheetor touched a section of the map. Right here, said Cheetor as the map zoomed in on that area. Oh. Near Vale, Vacuo border, floating mountain. Meanwhile, a weak and tired Pterosaur was making his way to the floating island in hopes of regaining his power. As he was flying, he was talking to himself as to why he lost power in the first place. The energon must be unstable, I need more of it, enough to finish off the Maximals for good. Pterosaur said to himself as he continued on his way to the mountain thinking he was alone. Flying above him was a bullhead containing tarantulas and Mercury. The two caught up with him easily and were staying out of sight while following him. Tell me again why we're doing this, moaned Mercury as he flew the ship while staying out of sight. Because you simple-minded fool, think about it for a second. If Pterosaur got that much power, imagine what we could use it for. No one would be able to stand up to us. Now shut up and follow him, explained Tarantulas, but Mercury already knew that Cinder had more power than all of them, but that bomb was keeping her from using it. Oh. Veil, Patch, Axelon. While Pterosaur was trying to get another power up, the Maximals were seeing if what Cheetor said was true. Currently they had their scanners pointed in that area and were seeing what was going on. I've got two of them, said Rhinox as two different blips appeared on the map. Seeing this, Optimus wanted to see who it was. Patch it into the map grid, he ordered as a grid appeared on the map. After a few seconds of studying the map, Rhinox figured out who it was. Looks like Pterosaur, Tarantulas and one human, he told them as Rattrap looked over at him. You meant Faunus, right, cause there's no humans in the White Fang, said Rattrap. After all the data Ruby got them showed that there were no humans with any contact with the White Fang. Rhinox just looked over at Rattrap. Nope, it's a human. Humans and Faunus have different markers in their bodies and this person is missing the Faunus markers, he explained as the map then flickered. Hey, what happened? Asked Rattrap confused. Rhinox studied the map again and then came to a conclusion, energon inference. They must be near a large concentration of it, he explained to them as Optimus then projected their most likely courses, showing that the two groups were heading to the mountain. The map then showed the mountain. A mountain of it to be more precise, said Optimus after seeing the picture the computer showed them. Cheetor then punched Rattrap in the arm. Told you, rat breath, said Cheetor, glad he was proven right. Yeah, ask me, both you and Optimus need to be debugged, countered Rattrap as the two glared at each other. While Cheetor and Rattrap were having their staring contest, Rhinox was thinking about the mountain. You know, it's possible, if the energon were unstable and there was a big enough concentration, it could lift a mountain off the ground, said Rhinox as Optimus agreed with him, but Yang was confused by it. Wait, how can energon lift a mountain off the ground? Wondered Yang as Rhinox looked over at her. Do you want the technical version or what I just told you? Asked Rhinox, knowing that Yang was more of a girl of action and that technical terms went over her head a fair bit. Yang thought about it for a second before answering. I think I'll stick with what you said, she told him, not wanting to hear all the technical stuff. Seeing that Yang understood the situation, Optimus gave his orders. Rattrap, rig for demolition and meet me at the roof hatch in 5 cycles. Yang, give Rattrap a hand, you're coming with us, he told them as he went to get ready for the mission himself. Wait, what are we doing? Wondered Rattrap, who wasn't sure what he was going to blow up. To destroy that mountain, before the Predacons try to secure it, answered Optimus as he turned and looked over at Rhinox. Rhinox set the defense grid on maximum, and Cheetor tried to get Ruby out of the lab and ready for combat, said Optimus as Cheetor walked off and Rhinox worked on the defense grid. Rattrap couldn't believe that he had to blow up a so-called floating mountain. It's always something, he said to himself as he shook his head in disbelief before looking over to where Yang was waiting for him. Come on, we're going to need a fair bit of explosives to deal with this, said Rattrap as the two walked off to get their gear. Oh. Floating mountain, Veil, Vacuo border. While the Maximals got ready to take out the mountain, Pterosaur reached the mountain and flew to where he first got his power boost in hopes of regaining the power. Meanwhile, Tarantulas and Mercury flew their bullhead towards the mountain. Mercury couldn't believe what he was seeing. A flying mountain, Mercury said to himself in disbelief, but Tarantulas heard him. Not flying, but rather floating. The power required for something like his is immense, corrected Tarantulas as he saw a ledge big enough to land on that also connects to the main area. Land over there, we'll walk in on foot, ordered Tarantulas as Mercury took the bullhead over to the ledge and landed it. Soon the two were walking into the mountain, while Tarantulas stayed in beast mode. As the two walked, Mercury wondered something. So what do we do now? Wondered Mercury as Tarantulas continued to walk. We find out how Pterosaur is powering himself up first and then go from there. Was all Tarantulas said as Mercury shook his head and continued to walk. Little did either know that they were going to have competition for the mountain. Nearby the mountain a ground bridge portal opened up in midair and out of it came Optimus in robot mode with Yang carrying a bag on her side and Rattrap on Yang's back as they flew through the air. Man, oh, man, if I wanted to fly, I would have become a bat not a rat. Whined Rattrap as they flew towards the mountain. It was the fastest way to get here. The Energon is playing havoc with the ground bridge so it can only get us so close. Optimus told him as he continued to fly them all towards the mountain. Yang gained a smirk on her face. What's a matter, Rattrap, scared of flying? Teased Yang as Rattrap just looked at her the best he could. I have no problem with flying, it's falling that I have a problem with. Countered Rattrap as he reminded Yang of the downed bullhead in the area she saw earlier. Not wanting to forget again, Yang turned her attention to Optimus. Hey Optimus, there's something I want to ask you. Said Yang, gaining some of Optimus's attention as he continued to fly towards their destination. It's going to have to wait, we're here. Said Optimus as all three of them could see the mountain in the sky. Rattrap seeing it whistled at it. Guess I owe the pussycat an apology. Said Rattrap seeing how he was wrong about what he said to Cheetor earlier. Optimus then flew closer to the mountain and found a ledge for him to land on. As soon as he landed, both Rattrap and Yang jumped off his back. Optimus then felt the Energon surge affecting his body as his computer spoke to him. Danger, Energon surge, return to beast mode or stasis lock as imitate. Warned his computer system as Optimus returned to beast mode. Soon the three of them walked through the mountain looking at all the Energon. There is a lot of Energon here. Whistled Yang looking at the Energon that lined the walls. That's true. We'll have to use our robotic form sparely. Said Optimus as he also looked at all the Energon that kept the mountain afloat. Don't worry, that's why I'm here. I'm not affected by the Energon like you two are. Boosted Yang as Optimus stopped and looked at her. That may be true, but that doesn't mean you should be careless. Warned Optimus as they continued on their way to the center of the mountain. Soon the three of them saw Pterosaur as he transformed and landed in the area in front of them, causing them to hide behind some rocks as they watched him. As Pterosaur landed on the ground, he walked over to where he first got his power boost. Now to regain my power. Said Pterosaur as he held out his hands toward the crystals, causing their power to surge through his body once more. Soon Pterosaur had regained the power he used to destroy Megatron. Yes, 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 cried Pterosaur as he started to laugh with the feeling of power he had. As the others watched on, Rattrap couldn't help but speak up. Uh-oh, this is bad. Said Rattrap as the three lowered themselves behind the rocks. So what's the plan? Asked Yang, when normally she would attack, but after seeing what Pterosaur could do with his power boost, she didn't want to risk it. Okay, his circuits can't hold a charge that massive for long. I'll lead him away, you two set the charges and I'll come back for you in 4 cycles. Said Optimus as Rattrap wasn't sure about the plan. And suppose he blasts you into itty bitty pieces, it's a long way down. Said Rattrap, voicing his concerns about the plan. It sure is. Said Optimus, surprising both Yang and Rattrap with what he said. Optimus then stood up for the group as he transformed and gained the attention of Pterosaur. Optimus, how nice of you to save me the trouble of hunting you down. Said Pterosaur, who was so sure that Optimus would be as difficult to defeat as Megatron was. Optimus had only one thing to say about that. Let's do it, was all he said as he took to the sky with Pterosaur following him behind him, as Optimus led Pterosaur away from Yang and Rattrap so that they could set the charges. Now all Optimus had to do was dodge all the shots that Pterosaur was firing at him from his shoulder cannons and hope that his power boost would wear off soon. Optimus did every move he could think of to keep Pterosaur off his back. He flew downwards towards the base of the mountain. He used the nearby floating rocks as shields. But no matter what Optimus did, Pterosaur was still on his tail, and some of his shots were too close for comfort for Optimus as he continued dodging Pterosaur. Optimus then hid behind a rock as Pterosaur flew past him as Optimus activated his wrist cannon and fired at Pterosaur. The shots hit Pterosaur, sending him into a nearby rock, but like with Megatron, they did nothing to him. Pterosaur flew out of the rock and got closer to Optimus. Now you've made me mad. Pterosaur growled at him as he fired a barrage from his shoulder cannons at Optimus. Optimus barely dodged in time as he flew away. I hope Yang and Rattrap are having better luck than me, he thought as he continued his game of cat and mouse with Pterosaur as the cat and where he was the mouse. Meanwhile, Yang and Rattrap both went to the main area as they looked around. Rattrap examined the area before he looked over to Yang. Okay, 2 charges should do the job, but to be safe we'll set an extra 2 charges on the other side of this area, he explained to her as Yang brought out 2 charges and tossed them to Rattrap. Yang then went over to the other side of the mountain as Rattrap sent the 2 charges on some energon as the timer started to count down. Now if Optimus can get back here in time, Rattrap said with worry in his voice as he started to walk over in the direction that Yang went so they could regroup and meet up with Optimus. Little did he know that the 2 of them were about to have company. Back with Optimus, he was still in the same situation as he was before, with the only difference this time being that Pterosaur was firing like crazy. Optimus was using anything and everything he could as a shield to defend himself with. But then Pterosaur fired at a rock above Optimus as he was flying under it, causing the rocks to hit Optimus, making him stop, giving Pterosaur a chance to fly right in front of Optimus. "You're mine now, Maximal," said Pterosaur as hit fired at Optimus point blank with his eye lasers. The blasts hit Optimus, sending him down while Pterosaur laughed at his handiwork. Optimus was lucky enough to land on the main mountain, but unfortunately for him he bounced a few times, giving him even more damage before he finally stopped. When Optimus tried to get up, the energon from the mountain was already affecting his body. "Energon surge, stasis lock is imminent," warned Optimus's computer system. "Have to transform or I'm finished," said Optimus as he changed into beast mode, knowing that it was better than going into stasis lock with Pterosaur right above him. Optimus then looked up as he heard Pterosaur coming down with a wicked smile on his face. Back with Yang, she just set 2 more charges on some energon. She was about to leave when out of nowhere someone kicked her, sending her to the ground. Looking up, Yang saw Mercury standing there with a smile on his face. "Who the hell are you?" demanded Yang as she got Ember Celia ready for a fight. Mercury just smirked at Yang. "Your worst nightmare," was all he said before he fired some shots from his shoes as Yang. Yang jumped to the side and charged at Mercury, wanting to punch his face in. Mercury got out of the way of the punch and was about to fire another shot at Yang, but stopped when he saw she was in front of Energon. He then went in close as attacked Yang with serval kicks. Yang tried to block some of the kicks, but some of them got through, and then Mercury roundhouse kicked Yang. The force was so strong it sent Yang against the wall. As she got up, she saw one of the charges fell out of her bag and was on the ground near her. Getting an idea, Yang stood up with the charge in her hand. "Well, whoever you are, you're going to get a blast out of this," said Yang as she tossed the charge at Mercury, who had no time to react as it exploded right in front of him. When the dust settled, Yang didn't see her opponent anywhere and thought he was blown somewhere else. "I better find Rattrap, and fast," thought Yang as she went to find Rattrap, hoping that he was okay since that guy probably didn't come alone. And Yang was right. As Rattrap was looking for Yang, he failed to see tarantulas climbing on the rocks behind him until it was too late. The next thing Rattrap knew, tarantulas was on top of him, pinning him to the ground. "Surprise!" taunted tarantulas as Rattrap struggled to his feet. Luckily for Rattrap, he got to his feet and started to run while tarantulas was still on his back. Seeing a low ledge, Rattrap ran under it with tarantulas hitting the top of it and falling off of him. "Sorry, Bug Bot, it got no time to play with you," said Rattrap as he continued on his search for Yang, but tarantulas wasn't done just yet. "I'm afraid I insist," said tarantulas as he jumped at Rattrap, only for Yang to come out of nowhere and grab him by his back. "Sorry, Bug Boy, but playtime is over," said Yang as she shotgun punched him in the direction she came from. Once tarantulas was dealt with, Yang looked over at Rattrap. "Let's find Optimus and blow this place," punned Yang as Rattrap groaned in response. "You know you got to stop those puns," said Rattrap as the two of them went to find Optimus. Meanwhile, tarantulas finally landed on the ground after Yang's punch. As he got up, he heard moaning and was wondering what was causing it. Looking for the source, tarantulas found Mercury on the ground, but the interesting thing was that his right leg was broken, but instead of flesh and blood, tarantulas saw metal and oil. Mercury heard tarantulas coming and looked at him. "Tarantulas, help me, my leg is broken and they set bombs here." cried Mercury as Tarantulas just looked at him, before he started to walk away from him. Tarantulas, are you going help me? Said Mercury as fear and worry was getting to him. Tarantulas stopped and looked at him. Why should I? What's in it for me? He asked, wondering what was in it for him to help him. Mercury thought for a moment before answering. I'll owe you one, he said, hoping he would help him. Tarantulas thought for a moment before he went back and placed Mercury on his back. Just remember this, I always collect on my debts, said Tarantulas as he carried Mercury back to the bullhead, while Mercury was wondering if he would have been better off where he was. Back with Optimus, things weren't looking good for him as Pterosaur was standing over him with his gun trained on him. Say goodbye, Optimus Primal, said Pterosaur as he got ready to finish Optimus for good, only his power boost to end at that moment. Energon drain, stasis lock imitate, warned Pterosaur's computer system as Pterosaur was feeling the full front of the drain. No, not now, said Pterosaur as he jumped away and transformed into beast mode to recharge his power. Optimus then started to get back to his feet as Pterosaur flew over to him. I'll be back for you as soon as I replenish my power, Pterosaur warned him as he took off, leaving Optimus by himself. Got to get to Yang and Rattrap, not much time, said Optimus as he struggled to move and find the others. Yang and Rattrap entered a ledge on as they looked around for Optimus, but they soon heard Pterosaur cry as they looked up and saw Pterosaur flying through the air, with no Optimus near him. Oh man, looks like Optimus lost this round and that means we're done for, said Rattrap as he started to panic, while Yang thought she would never see Ruby again or find her mother. Pterosaur meanwhile got back to the Energon clearing as he struggled to stay airborne. Must recharge, must, he said as he huffed as he then saw the bombs that Rattrap placed. Pterosaur couldn't believe what he was seeing. Demolition charges, they'll tear this mountain to pieces, he cried out as he started to fly away from the mountain as fast as he could. He might want power, but he wasn't going to die over it. The charges then went off as Pterosaur was making a break for it, destroying everything on the mountain. Meanwhile, Tarantulas and Mercury were in the bullhead and making a break for it. Mercury, who was sitting on the ground while Tarantulas flew the bullhead, asked a question. So what do we tell Adam? He asked Tarantulas as he stayed quiet. Yang and Rattrap just stood there as the mountain was being blown up. Well, at least we're going out with a bang, said Rattrap as Yang said nothing. The only place we're going is home, said Optimus as he climbed over the ledge and joined the two of them. Optimus, you're alive, said Yang as she and Rattrap rushed over to him. We'll all be dead soon. Hurry, both of you, hop onto my back, said Optimus as Yang hopped on his back followed by Rattrap. Okay, make like a bird, said Rattrap, wanting to get out of there and fast. Can't, the Energon blast will fry my circuits permanently, just hold tight, said Optimus as he ran for the edge. Oh man, oh man, oh man, don't tell me you're going to jump, cried Rattrap as Optimus jumped off the mountain as it exploded behind them. As they flew, Yang was crying in joy from the feel of it while Rattrap was crying. When the mountain exploded, the blast sent them away from the other mountains and towards the nearby jungle. The three of them landed on a tree as Optimus was holding onto it. Yeah, let's do that again, cried Yang as the others looked at her. Maybe later, but for now would you two mind getting off my back? Asked Optimus as Yang and Rattrap climbed off his back and onto the tree branch. As the three made themselves more comfortable on the breach, Rattrap looked over to Optimus. You do know that was crazy, he told him as Optimus just shrugged. Sometimes crazy works, replied Optimus. By the way, you did good up there, both of you. Hearing this made Yang beam with pride. Yeah, you weren't so bad yourself, but don't tell anyone I said that, said Rattrap as Yang then got Optimus' attention. Hey Optimus, remember earlier about me having something to tell you? Asked Yang as Optimus and Rattrap looked her way, wondering what she wanted to say. Yes, what is it? Wondered Optimus as Yang grinned. Well, me and Cheetor found this downed Atlesian dropship nearby. We were thinking of bringing it back to base and fixing it up. What do you think? Asked Yang as Optimus thought about it for a bit. After making up his mind, Optimus gave his response. Okay, you have permission to grab it and fix it up, he told her as Yang pumped his fist. Oh. Vacuo, dark side. After finally being able to fly back to the dark side, Pterosaur was still in a bad mood over what happened. Blast those Maximals, they destroyed my power. But at least I got rid of Megatron. Pterosaur said to himself as he landed at the main hatch to enter the base. But when he did, he saw Megatron walking slowly toward him with several people behind him watching on. Well, look who's back, said Megatron as Pterosaur paled at the sight of Megatron. That night the White Fang and Predacons had a lot of entertainment. Veil, dusk till dawn. Later that night Ruby was at a dust shop called Dusk Till Dawn reading a weapon magazine while listening to some music. When Optimus and his team returned back to Axelon with the Atlesian dropship, Optimus gave Ruby a little talking to about diving into work so bad that she ignores the outside world. Ruby didn't like it, but she was glad she could upgrade Silver Thorns. Now instead of palm controls she adds special black fingerless gloves to it, so now she just needs to make a fist with the fabric touching in a certain way and her weapon will activate. This way they won't turn on when she's holding Crescent Rose or something like that. Now for as to why she was there, Yang came up to her when she got back and asked if she could make some adjustments to Ember Celia. When she fought that boy on the mountain, she got lucky with the charge. If it didn't work, who know what could have happened. So now Ruby is getting some ideas as to what to do for Yang's weapon upgrade. She was so into the magazine she didn't hear the door open as Roman and 4 disguised White Fang members walk in. Roman walked over to the shopkeep, who was afraid at Roman's appearance. Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a dust shop open this late? Asked Roman as he flicked his cigar like nothing was wrong. Meanwhile the shopkeeper was scared for his life. Please, just take my lien and leave, said the shopkeeper as he raised his hands in fear. Roman just shook his head at that. I'm not here for lien tonight, I'm here for your dust, said Roman as the White Fang got to work grabbing the dust. 2 went and collected the dust in the containers on the wall, while one of them wandered the store and the last one went to the shopkeeper. I want crystals, burn, uncut, and if you try anything I'll get mad, and you won't like me when I'm mad, threatened the White Fang member as the shopkeeper gave him the dust he wanted. Soon the member patrolling the store saw Ruby standing in the corner in the back of the store with her back turned to him. Not wanting to take any chances he walked over to her, while pulling out a sword. Okay kid, put your hands where I can see them. He threatened her but got no response out of her. Not liking how she was treating him he walked over and turned her around and saw she was listening to music. He then motioned to her headphones, making Ruby take them off. Yes, she asked but had a good idea what was going on. I said, put your hands in the air, now, said the member as Ruby understood what was happening. And if I don't, replied Ruby as she put the magazine away. The White Fang member had enough and went to swing at her only for Ruby to use Silverthorn and cut the blade in half. The member looked at his sword before Ruby went and kicked him to the other side of the store. Roman, who was still at the counter looking at some dust, saw the guy go flying by him as did the others. Soon the one of the other White Fang members went to see what happened as saw Ruby there. He pulled out his gun, but the next thing he knew he was out on the street, feeling pain all over his body as Ruby landed on his body. As the others took a look at her, Ruby pulled out Crescent Rose out in scythe mode as she twirled it and stuck the ground with her scythe facing them. Roman then saw the Maximal symbol on her belt. Well, looks like we have a Maximal here. Get her, ordered Roman as the remaining White Fang members plus the guy she kicked earlier pulled out their Predacon guns and rushed outside for a better shot. One of them shot at Ruby but she jumped over the blast and used the blunt end of Crescent Rose to hit him with knocking him out. The next one used a mini machine gun, but Ruby used a combination of her speed and the recoil from Crescent Rose to avoid the shots. She then, using her speed, kicked the man sending him into a lamp post. The final one saw what happened and tried to run away, but Ruby was already on him and used her scythe to knock him out as Roman just watched. And Adam says you're good fighters, mumbled Roman as he looked at the downed White Fang members, before finally looking at Ruby as he walked out of the shop. Well read, it looks like the Maximals win this round, started Roman as he dropped his cigar and crushed it with his cane. Shame I'm such a sore loser. He finished as he raised his cane, and the bottom lifted up showing that it was a gun. He then fired at Ruby who dodged it by using Crescent Rose recoil. When she looked at where Roman was she saw he gone. Looking around she saw him climbing up a nearby fire escape. Ruby then looked at the shopkeeper. You okay if I go after him? She asked him as the shopkeeper nodded yes to her. When Roman reached the roof he started to run to the other side just as Ruby reached the top as well. "Hey!" cried out Ruby as Roman stopped at the other end of the roof. But then a bullhead appeared out of nowhere as Roman climbed inside it and then turned and faced Ruby. "End of the line red," said Roman as he pulled out a red dust crystal and tossed it at Ruby. He then fired at the crystal causing a huge explosion. Roman thought he got her, but when the dust settled standing in front of Ruby was a woman that was holding up a shield in front of them. This woman was middle-aged with green eyes wearing glasses with blonde hair that was tied in a bun and had curl hanging down the right side of her face. She wore a white long-sleeved suit with puffy sleeves that exposed part of her chest. On her lower body she has on a black business skirt with buttons running in a vertical line up the front of it. She also wore high heels and a purple tattered cape. On her cape it had a row of diamond-shaped drown beads going horizontally across it. And above the beads was an emblem of a tiara. The most interesting thing about her was that her weapon was a riding crop. The woman flicked her wrist firing several purple blots that hit the bullhead. Knowing he was in trouble Roman ran to the front where Cinder was flying the bullhead. "We got a huntress, go deal with her," he told her, as Cinder left to deal with her and Roman took over. The woman then fired another blast above the bullhead creating storm clouds above it. The clouds then fired ice spears all over the bullhead. It was at the moment that Cinder was ready and fired a fireball at the woman, who made a shield to defend herself. The blast fragments landed all around her as they started to glow. The woman then back-flipped away as the ground exploded and used the debris around her and turned it into a giant spear and fired it at the bullhead. Cinder blasted it a few times, but the spear remade itself each time. Roman then angled the bullhead to have the spear hit the top of the ship, saving them. The woman then broke up the spear and had the pieces circle the bullhead. Cinder, who had enough of this, fired a fire barrier around the ship, destroying the broken up spear pieces. Seeing this, Ruby stepped in and fired several shots from Crescent Rose in sniper mode hoping to help, but Cinder blocked each shot with her hand. Cinder then prepared several explosions near the two. The woman, seeing this, got herself and Ruby out of the way, but in doing so Roman and Cinder got away. Seeing that the danger was over, the woman looked over to Ruby, who had stars in her eyes. "You're a huntress. Can I have your autograph?" asked Ruby, only to then find herself in the police interrogation room a little later with the woman walking around her. "I hope that you realize that your actions tonight will not be taken lightly, young lady. You put yourself and others in great danger," the woman sternly told Ruby as Ruby felt like Optimus was talking to her again. "They started it, and if I did nothing who knows what they would have done," defended Ruby, knowing they worked for the Predacons but couldn't say anything about it. "If it were up to me, you'd be sent home," with a pat on the back, started the woman as Ruby smiled at it before she continued. "And a slap on the wrist," she finished as she slapped her whip on the table, making Ruby jump back into her seat in fear. "But there is someone here who would like to meet you," said the woman as a man entered the room. This man looked like he was middle-aged with silver hair and brown eyes. He wore an unzipped black suit over a bottomed vest and green undershirt. He also wore dark green pants and black trouser shoes. He also has on a green scarf with a cross-shaped emblem on it and shaded glass spectacles. In his left hand he was carrying a mug with the Beacon Academy symbol on it, and in his right he had a plate of cookies. "Ruby Rose," started the man as he took a closer look at her. "You have silver eyes," he finished, making Ruby wonder why her eyes were important. He then stood up straight and the women had a tablet with a video of Ruby's fight playing on it. "So, where did you learn to this?" the man asked her as he gestured to the tablet behind him. Not sure what to say, Ruby answered truthfully. "Signal Academy," she told him as the man looked a little surprised at the answer. "They taught you to use one of the most dangerous weapons ever designed?" questioned the man, wondering if she was telling the truth or not. "Well, one teacher in particular," replied Ruby. "I see," started the man as he put the plate of cookies in front of Ruby as she tentatively picked on up and eat it in one go. She then grabs the rest and eats them all quickly without choking on them. "It's just that I've only seen one other side wielder of that skill before. A dusty, old crow," finished the man as his mind wandered for a second. "You must mean my uncle Kiro. He's a teacher at Signal. I was complete garbage before he took me under his wing." And now, I'm all like, Hoa. Whicha, said Ruby as she made some karate-style poses and noise. Then did he teach you how to use These's wrist blades? Asked the man as he should Ruby her fight inside the store as she cut the sword in two. No, I'm learning that on my own. See, I'm not good at close range like my sister, so I'm trying to get better and made a weapon for that purpose. Answered Ruby as the man and woman bought her answer for now. Then what is an adorable girl such as yourself doing at a school designed to train warriors? Questioned the man, wondering what her answer would be this time. Well, I want to be a huntress. Answered Ruby, causing the man to press for more. You want to slay monsters? He asked, wondering if there was more or not. Yeah, but recently I found out there are more than one type of monster, and if we can't stand up to all types of monsters out there then we lose. After all, freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Said Ruby as everyone failed to see that her eyes glowed for a second when she said that last part. I only have 2 more years of training left at Signal. And then I'm going to apply to Beacon. There I'll gain what I need to make a difference in the world. Said Ruby, surprising the 2 adults in the room with her unique and mature answer. The man was quiet for a bit before he spoke. Do you know who I am? He asked her. You're Professor Ozpin. You're the headmaster at Beacon. Answered Ruby, causing the now identified Ozpin to smile. Hello, he said as Ruby smiled back. Nice to meet you, she said, wondering what would happen next. You want to come to my school? Asked Ozpin. More than anything, Ruby answered him, expressing her love for the school. Well, okay, said Ozpin, shocking Ruby with the answer. Just like that? Asked Ruby, making sure she heard okay. Ozpin took a sip from his mug before answering her. Yes. Now head home and I'll send you a list of everything you'll need along with the proper paperwork to fill out. He told her as Ruby got up and left the room, wondering if she was dreaming or not. When she left the room, Ozpin looked to the woman. I know you disagree with this, Glinda, said Ozpin as the Glinda looked at him. She too young for Beacon, Ozpin. Why are you letting her in so early? Asked Glinda as Ozpin drank more of her coffee. Because she has potential to be a great huntress. And remember the explosion that took place last month on Patch? He asked as Glinda nodded yes. I have reason to believe she was in the middle of it. I have no proof, but I have this feeling that can't be explained. But there's more to her than more than meets the eye, said Ozpin as he started to look over Ruby's file from Signal. And this is the end of part 3 of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Don't really leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.